I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of neither me. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't really. It ain't no in between, baby. You can ask the sun, it's an everyday thing. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not around.
Islam. Peace, love and light.
Peace.
Welcome back to another Adept study every Saturday. The BDT Science Temple and School. Just go over some of our sponsors real quick. Hold on. How you doing, brother Adrian?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great, Noble. Again, we sponsored by mypdfbooks.com, where reading funds the mental. If you like any books or documents we go over during these classes, reach out to us. If you like any physical copy books, you can go to bindedbooks.com, check out the catalog. Looking for any musical selections, we have our brother Brian Hicks Bay, BHB Music. A lot of the music you hear here is written by that brother with a great tape out now, Transportation of Raw Materials. Definitely want to grab it. If you like any herbal teas to go with your books, check out Herbs of Mayat on Instagram, Mayat Sons. Divinely Prepared Tea of Teas. If you like any regalia, fez, turban, kufis, suits, we got it all at MoorishHaberdasher.com. Along with Moorsachi, we can get all your Moorish drip inspired by the Renaissance. And we are all powered by ALO Design Pros. Design your online business strategy. You're looking for web design, AI, marketing, one-stop shop. Peace and love, Noble Sheep.
Peace, everybody. Peace and love, Mo Soul.
Peace.
Peace, Noble Adrian. How you doing, Noble?
Peace. Very good.
Islam. Peace, Brian. Mo Soul. I know our brother will be here in a minute. We had a great workout today, man. We get it in.
Oh yeah, it was a good one, a real good one.
But today, as I like to, since today is a Saturday, just another day of the week, but I like to do a little history, and we do civics as well. Now, everything that we go over, you can have. This is how we build your library. This is the scholastic part of history, when you start tracing things all over the globe. So when you look in the mirror or you look at things in history, you can have a clear perspective, and you can feel confident, not only from the past, but you can feel confident in yourself, and you can feel confident in the accomplishments that were made, you know. So I'm gonna how can I say it, kind of do summary of some topics, because I've done these a plethora of times, but I teach in circles, and that's how I want everybody to understand. I'm gonna always come back around, because everything should make sense. I'm not here to convince you. What I'm here to do is give you a clear view, so you can make a clear understanding, so we can see how far or what we need to go back to. Release the anger and get with the unity. But none of this stuff could have happened in ancient times if the minds didn't have some similar characteristics, of who they are, what they were. So it's a book titled The One World Tartarians, and it's by James W. Lee. And if nobody know who James W. Lee is, look him up. If y'all don't have this book, that's why at our temple in school, when we ask for donations, it's not just to listen and get wisdom. It's to build your library, to build your online library. And if you want to print it and bind it, you can print and bind it at Office Max or Staples, or we'll print it and bind it. What we're doing here is it's more of history and civics class, to where no matter what your flag is per se, we're not here to change history or rewrite history. The history is plain. It's just like when we deal with the civic aspect of moral science. When I say the Constitution is written, you're all in it. You must be civil. What it is, a lot of brothers and sisters have a misunderstanding of what's written, and they arbitrarily try to explain things that can't be explained arbitrarily. So when we talk about time periods in history and certain how can I say it, land masses, when I try to explain, or when we deal with history and Carmen Dayton and archaeology, when you start seeing the Tartarians, and then you start seeing writings and ancient writings, and then you start comparing and contrasting certain things in certain areas. Just like when you hear Russian icons, right off the jump, a person wouldn't think that in that area or in that dispensation, it's really speaking of you. You were all in that area, and the ancient Britons that David MacRitchie speaks of, it speaks of you clearly in a certain time period of history. Even as we show other parts of Americas, you're going to see things that was written from unbiased perspectives to give you a good perspective of this moral science and what you were, and not dealing with modern man that argues, but dealing with the science of it, dealing with the unification of this science, not dealing with it as how can I say it? What you see today, the tittle of what you see on the internet, and people getting in trouble and being, how can I say it, disruptive. That's not more science. That's somebody's own, how can I say it, mission. But when we talk about this science, when we talk about spirituality and things, I want people to get a clear perspective. Did we do our Moorish American prayer, Noble? I'm sorry. I'm speaking, and I don't think we did our Moorish American prayer. Somebody let me know. Did we?
No.
Can you please do our Moorish American prayer, Noble?
Yeah. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, my salvation, my night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali, Amen, Ashe, Shalom Aleichem, Ashar, Islamism. Peace, 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 peace.
Peace, 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 peace. Gratitude, Malik. I thought you was gonna check me on that. But now let's paint the picture for my historians, because I always like to paint the picture and lead you up to the science. That's why I say the science is gonna cross all the borders. And then we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna jump into a little bit more science, for you can let's start connecting things. And I want people to ask questions. I want you to jump in, especially anybody new. I want you to, if we need to fill in the blanks, we're gonna fill in the blanks here, because this is what class is here for. Just like when me and Moso was in Friday book club reading yesterday, we're not here to argue and debate. We're here to bring things to you, to have these discussions, to show you who you are. To actually, you're more than welcome to be part of our school, but it's contingent on some things. Brotherhood is a beautiful thing. But Tartus in the King James Bible, And brothers, if y'all don't have the One World Tartarians, anybody on here that's listening to us, any of my nobles, y'all need to have it. We're going to break down some stuff in this text. I'm gonna jump around a little bit. That's why in any school or any discipline, you should have a manual for you can study, for you might get inspiration to be able to bring things to an eye view that someone may not have seen. You may have got inspiration you need it because you're not going to learn by just me speaking, because what I may be saying to your ears or to a person's ears may be the first time that they ever hearing this. But isn't the beauty, isn't the joy when someone's not keeping nothing from you, that went through the fire, say, take this, study this, read this, write this down, boom, go to the next. Build your library up, build it up, and walk with you, and then continue to do it over and over from love. That's what we do it here. And we provide the information for you. We provide the wisdom. It's worth something. So walk with me and get a clear understanding what you can see, because in the King James Version, it reads that after this life, we will go to a place such as Abaddon, Hades, heaven, hell, and then you got to see what that stuff mean. Just like yesterday, man, how I was breaking down that understanding in the biblical scriptures, the constellations. I mean, when I broke down a little lecture earlier Friday, I wish nobles would go back and look at that to see inner meanings of things and why things is written in a particular fashion to keep you away from looking at it with a clear eye. But the vast majority of people believe that there is a life after this one. You know, that's what they believe. Some people. The Old Testament talks about Sheol, Sheol, the recesses of Sheol, Abaddon, in heaven. The New Testament uses the term Hades, hell, or Gehenna. You know, the Abyss or Tartarus. So I want you to keep that in your hippocampus. This study is designed to explain these terms and help you understand what the King James Bible is saying. Abaddon, Abaddon, is a so-called another horrible place. It is the place where the angels who sinned in Genesis 6:1-4 are bound. They were and are particularly disobedient evil angels who sinned by having relations with women. I'm just painting a picture. This statement is supported by comparing Jude 6:8 with 1 Peter 3:18-20, 2 Peter 2:4-8, and Luke 8:31. And by comparing these verses, you can discover that the angels sinned before Noah built the ark in Genesis 6. I'm painting a picture for you. So don't go out of context when I'm speaking. They sinned in Genesis 6:1-4. And all those texts I just gave you. And as a result, these angels were imprisoned in Abaddon, the Old Testament name, or Tartarus, the New Testament name. Now think about this. Tartarus in another New Testament name for Abaddon. And the Greek word Tartarus appears in 2 Peter 2:4. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to so-called hell, Tartarus, putting them into the gloomy dungeons to be held for judgment. So think about what I'm saying here, man.
Literally, right?
Man, I ain't even got Noble Lamar. We haven't even touched the surface on nothing yet, brother. Watch. No. You in a good. No, you talking good. What I'm saying. Say it again.
So you talk about that place from within.
Man, watch this.
You actually set yourself here by not following the instructions.
Man, Noble, come on. The Tartar Union of the Godless was an organization in the Muslim republics during the purge by the Soviet Union. So I want people to get that whole understanding of the Tartar and because I don't want to give you too much. I want to spark something in your hippocampus. So now, so start thinking about things. Start thinking about from 1928 to 1937, Brunham Mishgrove served as chairman of the organization. So when you start looking at this, the USSR and these conflicts, start looking at Joseph Stalin. When you start looking at this and then you start researching their memoirs, memoirs. Just like I showed y'all the memoir. I was asking Moso about the memoir the other day and how it named all of the copper-colored people in Europe history. What's the name of the memoir? It's I might have written it down because I wanted y'all to make sure y'all had it. And I think I told y'all about it. The Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey. And all the earls of those areas were copper colored. The Earl of Middleton, the Earl of Nottingham, the Earl of Abingdon. All of them were copper colored. The Earl of Sandwich, he was the tall, thin, black man. Is what I'm just trying to set a precedent on things, for you can get a clear idea as we paint this picture.
Gigabytes, that basically brings that into play too when you talk about those names you just mentioned.
Now it says from the book Chronicles of Border Warfare by Alexander Scott Withers, Tartarian Native Americans are considered Hebrew Israelites.
Who? Say that again. Who?
It said that the Native Americans are considered the Hebrew Israelites. And I know we can get specific with words. When we say a Hebrew Israelite, it can be an oxymoron, but you got to understand what it's saying. It's possible that the true Hebrew Israelites are Scythian, Tartarian, based on older maps. As reference, when Tartar or Scythia, Scythia, encompass all of Russia, parts of Europe, and Asia. It seems like this is an open secret within the Native American community. Heard what I said? Yeah. Yeah. And see, people know this. The Book of Mormon, man, like I said, if a person really read the Book of Mormon contains passages that suggest Native Americans are descendants of a lost tribe of Israel. All you got to do is read it in Nephi, Nephi 13, 12, and 14. It refers to a group of people identified as the Lamanites. You got to see who the Lamanites are, who are described as descendants of a family that left Jerusalem around 600 BC. This family is believed to be linked to the tribes of Israel. You ain't got to.
Look at the family tree in the Bible.
You say what, Noble?
All you gotta do is look at the family tree in the Bible and give you all the names.
Hey.
In Genesis.
Yes. See, history is lied, agree upon. No disrespect to no one. That's why I tell my brothers and sisters and my scholars, educators, and even my Moorish brothers, I'm not here to argue with you, but we have to tell the truth that we promulgate BS. And we can go against the grain. We can support our own. That's what we don't. We just don't be in the so-called church or in the temple just chilling or kumbaya. We in here discussing wisdom, how to put our dollars together. That's what the physical tabernacle is, a place to come. That's what we use this internet for, to bring these like minds together, to be united. It's only one. Yes. It's talk about more than one nation in America has Scythians or Tartarian extraction. Native Americans were trafficked to other parts of the globe, including China. Native Americans resemble that of Scythians, Tartars, and Samoyed or Samoyed people, Samoyed people. Look it up.
Muur.
Yep. Continent of Brazil was peopled by Carthaginian and Israelites. Israelite meaning people of the north, aka Scythians. Scythians. Research it. Native Americans' descendants were possessed of an extraordinary divine spirit by which they foretold future events. Here we go again. When I've been breaking down these constellations, how I've been breaking down the Bible and the Gnostic meanings of things, and why they wanted to keep you away, and why they didn't tell you about the symbols, and why they say that the Bible frowns upon using the constellations, and that's not true. It frowns on using that as like you telling the future, or you finna tell, or you finna get something. That's what it is. This modern stuff. But you have to deal with the constellations to understand the above and the below. You have to. That's the only way you're gonna deal with things that can be proven. If not, you missing an aspect of the teachings. You walking around with half a body, and that this was transmitted to their offspring, provided they obeyed the sacred laws annexed to it, annexed to it, annexed to it. Not destroying nothing. When I say, what's your last name? Okay, so that's the name that your mother gave you. That's your coat of arms, your family crest. You annex your El Leve. Your last name ain't no slave last name. It can't be. I'll show you that in history. People were named after you. They might have tried to change it or transliterate it a little bit to throw you off the breadcrumbs. But my brother, my sister, I can show you all through history. All through history. I ain't saying there wasn't no people from a certain area that were so-called slaves, came in here on the boat. Okay. But we're going to talk about that. It wasn't like that, how you think. And we're just going to touch on it a little bit, and we're going to go past it because I want you to see with your eye, to have something to compare to, so you can be clear. There's no reason to argue when you're clear, you know? Native American descendants were possessed of those sciences. Absolutely nothing was invented or discovered by scientists and intellectuals of the 19th and the 20th century. The high civilization Tartar Aryan extracted electromagnetic energy from the ether through star, fort strongholds, complexes of temples, domes, towers, minarets, and obelisks. All you got to do is look at it. That's why in Masonic history, if you sit down with somebody that'll tell you the truth, like myself and others, you can't be afraid of your science. See, these is facts, and we're going to talk about that. That's used with copper and always positioning below the tower. And when rotated inside coils, magnetic fields create electric charges in a mercury vortex. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Really, I'm talking about the Ankh. Really, Hindu energetic complexes exhibit this function at the top of the structure in a coil of multiple turns of wire. The magnetic field of the turns as in the center of the coil, creating strong field, you know, and high electrical and thermal conductivity, and has been mined since the beginning of human time. So these is the things that I want to paint this beautiful picture of where we're going with the people, because I'm gonna jump right in and show you what people we talking about. because just because I said a certain name, it's gonna go to the same people. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, rock with me, man. Rock with me. If you have the history, you will be laughing and be like, man, you will see it, how no scholar is going to disagree. You know, because I can go on to how things was written to fool not only the elite, but the masses, the educators, but it's right in the memoirs to show you how, when I talk about pseudo-historical Russian conspiracy theory, when I talk about pseudo or pseudo-graphical, and you can start researching these memoirs from these so-called people.
Like some of the stuff you learned in school.
Yeah. Yes.
Just like that.
So watch this. Watch this, y'all. This will really show you what was going on. Remember in history how you had in 1770 46 the Battle of Bunker Hill, when Oliver Cromwell and Prince Wimple was whitewashed out of the Battle of Bunker Hill. And when you see all the stuff that we talk about, to give you a clear picture of history, but then you can start going further and 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 further, and then start see the all over, because Egypt was a global blackamoor civilization. In the 1599 Geneva Bible, it don't call you an African, it call you a blackamoor. in the 1599 Geneva Bible. Look it up. Anywhere it says Africa, it call you black. It call you a blackamoor. Now why? Now we know it's all different type of use or national or how can I say a nationality of Moors as we continue to jump in this teaching to unify the teachings. But the Americas is the old Egypt, Temeri, the land of the Moors, Muurs. You're gonna hear me use it that way a lot. There's no problem with using it the other way, but I'm gonna break the Muurs, the acronym, down very shortly as we walk through this. And anybody got anything you can add on? The land of Mary, because the ancient Egyptian god Ptah, spelled with the P, a pre-dynastic Egyptian deity, Atlantean god, is from the Americas. Yes, it's Judah. Ptah, Judah, is from the Americas because his territory was Utah, Judah territory, which covered Mexico and several states: California, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas. He was also the chief god of Luxor in Memphis, Tennessee, which was in the Americas. You got to understand that.
Memphis and Mizraim.
Yes. Ancient Luxor was in old world America. Just like when I showed map of the ground plans for the so-called Louisiana Purchase, and you see everything already here in the Americas, everything all close by each other. It's a UK flag, 1801, represents a lot. Combines St. Andrews and St. George flags, 3 typical Masonic colors. The most powerful nations: blue, white, red. UK, USA, France, Russia. White represents pureness, sacred command. Now just stay in context with me. Red represents legislation, control, financial. Blue represents military power, like the NATO flag per se. The octagon Templar symbolism is clear on the Union Jack flag, as the UK, London, is the core of the actual royalty. The beehive for the bee queen, as I broke down last week about the beehive, when I broke down the inner meaning of the beehive. If you're gonna see things, you're gonna start hearing things. Things should start sticking out. Your ears should be listening. You'll be like, "What's so important about this science?" I told you, a lot of your science is wrapped up in masonry, and you just don't know it.
It be coming out in a movie too. See, like that movie with Jason Statham that just came out. He was the beekeeper. They basically explain how the beehive worked together.
Yep. Yep.
All the science be coming out. If you just watch and pay attention.
Yep.
All
Man, Malik. Okay. You said it. I ain't gonna say no names, but watch this and catch this. Just like what's happened with a lot of people today in entertainment and things, they getting caught up, say they having secret parties and dealing with minors and kids and all that, right?
Oh boy.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. That's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun.
Y'all know what that. All you got to do is research NAMBLA.
I agree.
Research NAMBLA, and then I can start showing you all through ancient history, modern history, today, how you have all these people that dealt with NAMBLA. People would tell on each other, and then you can start seeing that a lot of this stuff some people think is normal. This is what I'm telling you. Yes, that's why I'm telling you us. Well, we are the example for us, Noble Malik. We are the example. That's why I'll be trying to tell my brothers and sisters the point that we should be at today, not to be mad at no one else, trying to say where no one else come from, because they come from the same place you come from, what, your mama's womb, but who you are and what you proclaim and what you profess and what you stand on your love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. No one can take that from you. No one can tell you who you are, because you're not a slave. Slaves and dogs be named by their masters. You understand what I'm saying? We're none of that. Why? Because we done told you who we are based on the text, based on history. We done told you on all levels. So when anytime, no matter who come at you, no matter what color they are, Noble, Malik, if they're coming in a certain way, they're not giving you respect, that should be a form of anti-Semitic, just like when the other nationality said, when they come another way after you done corrected someone to deal with you. Understand what I'm saying? Until we do that globally, until we proclaim, declare and have due process unified, then that's all that needs to be done.
But the balances, baby.
Yes, but this is what I'm talking about, y'all. This Moorish, this meaning of things. When I talk about the Kabbalah, metaphysical Egyptian, the Coptic, when I talk about number codes, concepts, the Ka, the Ka, the life force or spirit, the inner energy keeps us alive. You know, it's easy to draw or imagine within a chiron, you know, showing the blue aura all living things has. When you look at the things under certain microscopes and things, you will see all living things have this form of a blue aura. Why is that? And the Ba is soul, or what survives, the physical matrix beyond this death. You know? So the term, when I talk about there should be a reason for the traditional religious systems, and of course the Aramaic religious forbid any attempt to do this. What? Explain things. Because Moorish has two meanings. Stay in context. Navigation skills. Dark-skinned people, maroon, brownish, or even black people. But the ancient Phoenicians, maybe they were not simply dark-skinned, but even, stay with me, misnomer black people. And it's not about a racial debate. But the ancient world had white, black, per se, yellow kings, per se. But what we hear and what the author was saying is he was interested to know why Noble Malik, black people fell in a sort of an unfortunate disgrace worldwide. How they tried to wipe out the copper-colored races. Why? Like that's what the author was saying. Whoa. You know? And then as you start, as I tell brothers, man, as you start trailing in history, because you should know Vladimir Dale, as we speak on things, as I continue to go, because I'm connecting dots, and as I'm walking, I'm pulling so many other topics together so you can look at it and see what was in that area and what they talked about all over the globe. They talked about you. Vladimir Dale's Explanatory Dictionary, 1863. Quote me, Arab, not A-R-A-B, but A-R-A-P, a black-skinned person from the hot countries, mainly Africa. Research it. Even when I talk about the so-called Jews, or you know, are the Igbos and the Igbos. And when I was at GCU, the European that went to Igbo land and Igbo land, I mean, it's no arguing. You were everywhere over the globe. So it's no disrespect to no one. But some historians or some ones that try to tell history argue those black people, those coat of arms, so many in Germany, for instance, can be explained simply as a little faction of nobility gained through war, as black people were used in military forces. But as we know, it's very close circle. We know better than that.
When they try to argue with you, they're just trying to test to see what you know.
Yeah.
That's all. It's a test. It's not. They're not really arguing with you. They're just trying to check to see if you know as much as you say you know.
Yep. I mean,
and how much more they can mislead you.
Yep. And that's why I say if we okay with not sending our kids and not building our own temples and schools up and not using these platforms to unify as a people and deal with commerce the right way, deal with finances the right way, buy our communities the right way, come around each other. And this is what it's about before you can get to another level, before you can know. You are the North American Moors. You got all this rich history, man, that's in this one world Tartarian. I want to skip to the end part because I want to get to my last piece and I want to wrap it up. But the first natives of America, when they talk about the Native Americas, which the Mormons and all this talk about, they were black Moors. Chancellor Wilson, the original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. We don't got to stay all in there. You can see them playing chess and all those things. destroying the identity of the Black Moor Tartarians. The Black Moor Tartarians. You got Egyptian Moors, you got Swarty Moors, you got Black Moors, you got Tartarian Moors. You know, think about what I'm saying. Let me paint this picture, and then as we, how can I say, we continue to move on, because things should be lining up. Things should be lining up for you. It should be lining up real easy, you know? So, the Los Angeles Times, June 4th, 1990, reported that when Napoleon visited the Sphinx in 1798, everything but the head was buried in the sand, and the soldiers repeatedly used the Sphinx for target practice. And while the Sphinx had already suffered nose damage prior to Napoleon, the greatest destruction took place during Napoleon's occupation of Egypt, as documented by Tony Browder and testified by the collection of the Sphinx portraits. He has assembled on his page 225 of the book Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, which I have these 6 portraits drawn over a period of 100 years, but it shows the evidence. And in the one word Tartarian, you can see it. And so the last part I want us to get a clear understanding is, as we go on, because we on good time. This is the thing that I want us to know when brothers be arguing over some transatlantic slave trade and all this and that, and then really don't know what was in the Americas, and then we use what was here in the Americas and their documents and their records to throw the same question back to you, you know, and say, okay, now can we have a real discussion? Because when we talk about New World Order in certain perspectives, is a way to change history, like the transatlantic slave trade. We be afraid to talk about these things. But when you break this stuff down in the numbers, as I give you a little preference of the numbers and give you a little clear idea, you got to be like, wait a minute. And I'm not gonna stay there too long, because I want you to get the wisdom. I want you to be able to read it for yourself. I just want to paint a picture for you. Some 12.5 million Africans were taken from their homes and forced abroad aboard slave ships that were destined for the New World. About 10.7 million people survived the horrors of the Middle Passages between 1526 and 1866, only to end up in bondage on sugar, rice, cotton, and tobacco plantations throughout the Americas and the Caribbean. The transatlantic slave trade is the largest forced migration in history. Black people are indigenous to the Americas. And don't get caught up when I say black people. I'm just reading it. We know better than that. But I want you to have an idea, because I want to use the words that the author has given to paint and give a precedent. But Native Americans are not a result of the so-called Red Indian mixing with slaves. The so-called Red Indian come from mixing with the European colonists and the Asians that were in America before Columbus. This is what the author is saying. The first Native Americans were Mongolian Tartarians. Melville Herskovits, a European anthropologist, was one of the originators of the out of Africa theory. Herskovits never had any historical, archaeological, or anthropological proof that black people of the Americas ever derived from West and North Africa. And consequently, Herskovits crafted the theory that blacks arrived in America from the transatlantic slave trade, which allegedly brought in more than 10 million African slaves. And according to the National Archives of Spain and the Smithsonian records, there was no evidence to prove 70,000 ships with black Africans ever sailed to the Americas. Did y'all hear that? Okay. Our children need to know this history.
Yep, I heard that.
Our children need to know this history. Melville carried out the teachings. Yeah. He carried out the teachings of his mentor, Franz Boas, Franzboaz, to make the original copper color races of the Americas inferior. When you look at, get the 1828 Webster Dictionary and look up what an American is. Let's research it and read it all. Don't just read a line. And the European presence superior. Before this time, blacks coming from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade story never existed. As a result, Melville's work has been fragmented and used as propaganda by writers like Harold Colander. Remember I told y'all Harold Colander? Harold Colander is the European that wrote The African and talked about these so-called slaves. Harold Colander is the European that Alex Haley plagiarized Root from. See, these is facts. And Alex Haley got sued for Roots for plagiarizing from Harold Colander, from a European. You see how your people will do you? They'll come with some bull crap and throw it in your face with some fake out of slave story, and Negroes will profess that they ancestor and their lineage is some damn Kunta Kinte, some Roots, and all of it's fake. Ain't that a bleep? Ain't that a bleep? And you try to explain a lie. That's insanity. That's insanity, Moso. Well, we still got that many. How can you? It's not real. It's made up. Just like the Willie Lynch letter. Made up. And who get up there in 95 at the Million Man March? No disrespect. And talk about some Willie Lynch while we stuck. Ain't no such thing as no Willie Lynch letter. It's propaganda. I'm sorry. No, I love when people do good things for people. But when you come with that propaganda, with that spookism to say the reason why we stuck, no, we ain't. We ain't no worse than no other generation, and we ain't no crowd and no bucket, because crowds don't go in no bucket. Somebody put them in there. Alex Haley perpetuated that myth of the transatlantic slave trade through the hit movie Roots, and then all the TV series. Americans were black people, and they were not brought here on no ships. Instead, they were enslaved right here on their own land. They were brought on ships. The numbers are extremely exaggerated, the ones that was brought on ships. It was published. Now look at the records. So when brothers just don't be arguing based on how they feel, we setting the precedent of history. We're gonna wrap it up with the science, but we setting the precedent of history because we're clearing up. It was published that 15 million to 20 million slaves arrived in America between 1540 and 1850, over a 310-year period, according to U.S. history books. But the Stewart synopsis points out a few questions that should be examined. Here go the first one. Listen clearly. Over a period of 3,000 years, it is fair to say that 60,000 slaves were transported annually to the Americas, or has the transportation of slaves to the Americas been one big myth? See, this is what me and Malik was laughing about when we started dealing with the numbers and dealing with the history as we start cross-referencing. You have to be able to see this and stand proud as you clearing up history. The largest seagoing vessel carried 400 slaves, but not all of the ships were that large. Time of passage was 3 to 4 months. That means 200 vessels, ships per year would have to travel carrying 300 people. One ship could make 3 passages per year. So the transatlantic slave trade database says that there were 1,100 to 1,400 voyages made over that 300-year period. Okay, if that's the case, and each ship nobles carried 400 people, the total number would be way less. 560,000 Africans were transported. And it still don't add up. All you got to do is do the numbers. I told you, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. A person should feel good and want to question things.
Only 2% of the cargoes survived and came across. This is the story they tell. Only 10% of the cargo, talking about the slaves, was survived because the rest of them was jumping off. And so if you only had 100 slaves on there, that means you only got 10 left. So they math don't be math.
And you already know that 83% of all Americans with African ancestry have Native American blood. So did the Native American tribes help slaves escape, or were Americans with African ancestry already part of the Native American tribes? Think about what I just said. That's why I say one nationality with many tribes. I hope my brothers be connecting this. That's why our prophet was telling people about the uniting of Asia. I'm giving y'all different dispensations. Lemira, Tartara. I'm about to show y'all all this. We almost, like I said, we got a little bit more to go. I'm gonna show y'all what they saw in history, all across the world, in the Americas. We're gonna talk about this. I'm setting a precedent. I mean, we should be clear today. We should feel great, because this explains a lot. You know, after the 20 years, the Royal Adventurer, with its 15 ships, had transported between 90,000 and 100,000 slaves. This is a long way from 15 million nobles to 20 million slaves who were supposedly brought to the Americas. Does that leave a little over 14 to 19 million people not accounted for? No disrespect. Or was the birth rate that more accelerated than your counterpart? Because the calculated median of 15 to 20 million, to 15 to 20 million would be 17.5. You know? Divided by 400 people, the largest slave vessels, that comes to 43,750 trips. And you can't see no records that many trips occurred, or the number of trips calculated by the experts per se. Even when I show y'all pictures of how they lay everybody out on a boat, and you see how all those slaves per se be laid out. I know y'all seen that. Just get that in your head. But figures exist of 27,000 to 35,000 voyages. But the same thing happened with the Holocaust. And people be, oh, you can't talk about that. Yes, we can. It's history. Why we can't talk about things? What do you talk about? During World War II, 6 million people were supposedly killed. But there are not that many names referred who died, totaling 6 million. I didn't say it wasn't nothing happening. We're talking about numbers. We're talking about things that you looking up. Not nothing to argue about or saying things didn't happen. That ain't what I said. The official story had reduced the number to 1 million. Stuart synopsis. Every scholar should know what I'm saying when I say Stuart synopsis. List these black native tribes. Stay with me. The Washita of Louisiana, the Washita Moors, Empress Tunic El Bay, the Yamanese of the Southeast, we know what that's about, the Iroquois, the Cherokee, Blackfoot, Pequot, and the Mohegans of Connecticut, the Black Californians, Califas, the Cal, and California literally means black, after the name of the great Mama Kali, Queen Khalifa, the Olmecs of Mexico, the Darinat of Panama. So 4.25 million African slave ships to Brazil and Mexico. So the story goes over the course of 300 years, from the 16th to the 19th centuries. That Brazil imported around 4 million slaves, 40% of the total transatlantic slave trade. And the overwhelming majority came from the former Portuguese colony of Angola, located on the Atlantic coast of southern Africa. Think about this. On July 9th, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, y'all know what that acronym is, UNESCO. It named Valongo, Valongo, Wharf, a World Heritage Site. Remember? Along with Northwest England's Lake District, the walled city of Amindab in India, and the sacred Japanese island of Okashima, which doesn't allow women on the shores. Research this stuff. And in these areas, y'all, when y'all think about it, none had a darker past than Valongo Wharf. Think about this history, this part of history. These were copper-colored people, built in 1811. The wharf functioned as South America's leading slave port. It was here that as many as 900,000 enslaved African men, women, children were held before being sold to the Brazilian slave market. And those who didn't survive the ordeal, who died during the transatlantic slave journey, nobles, or sometime after arriving at the wharf, were buried in mass graves nearby. You can start Y'all got to understand that Mexico claims African slavery as well. A total of 186,766 Africans were imported into Mexico during the 300 years of the Spanish slave trade. When you talk about the Spanish Inquisition and looking at the appearance of Mexicans, it becomes clear that the now that just make up the number without any proof of evidence. There is no way that many black-skinned Mongols could be responsible for the pigmented side of well over a million light and dark-skinned Mesitos. So the American Negro or the Indian or the Blackamoor or the Mongolian Tartarian is the oldest man on earth. I hope y'all caught what I just said, because they the same. The misnomer American Negro, Indian, or the Blackamoor, Mongolian, Tartarian, Mongolian, Moor, Mongolian, Tartarian is the oldest man on the earth. I hope my brothers and sisters caught that. Even when you start seeing things, even when you see pictures in the One World Tartarians, when you see this picture right here of what they saw in the Americas, what right here, and these European authors. Let me give you a little, just a little preface of what you was looking at, then show you where else it's at, so you can start seeing as we wrap this up. But these were people in history that they saw in the Americas. You know, all these Americans that you can see with your face, and they be right here. And when you start cross-referencing the history, revealing America's dark-skinned past, the Columbian era, you know, and it breaks it down. It breaks it down all, just what we talking about, what you see here in America's pictures of copper color, you know, where no one had a problem to pinpoint what they were saying. I want to get to the ending part, but you can get these documents. This is just America being the latest and most accurate description of the New World. I'll break these down at a later point, but you should be getting an idea of what's all over the Americas. That's what we saying. That's what I'm saying. You're going to be able to see it all through history, cross-reference. So as I end with the science aspect, when I talk about the sacred Moor science, you know, when I talk about the Kemetic or the Masonic teachings of this Moor science using the tools, the Moor Mason aspect, you know. But a lot of people don't believe that our prophet studied these degrees. We had to. If you look at all our symbology and everything that I teach, you have to understand this form of craftsmanship. Just like we was talking about yesterday, a form of craftsmanship and discipline. And a lot of our brothers are mistaken. I'm not talking about the Negro or the black or the type of Freemasonry that you may think or you may see on TV with someone telling you a whole bunch of stuff that's not true. And it's Masons that believe Freemasonry began in our community only with Prince Hall. But as you start seeing things, Prince Hall is nothing but a mystic name. And most of my brothers that's Prince Hall Masons are only 32 and 33 degrees. And you will never see them wearing their fez in the broad day or anywhere. And accuse all Masonic jurisdictions of being fraudulent. And to these misinformed brothers, I say, remember, it wasn't long ago, no disrespect, when the misnomer European Mason shunned and ostracized the Prince Hall as illegitimate. But why? Because you had to have a potentate over you. And I know, and that's what I be telling my brothers and sisters. I say, man, this is no one over you. This is a brotherhood. This ain't that. It seems that Prince Hall Masons are perpetuating the same behavior upon the Asiatic and the Moor Mason community at large. And it's sad indeed that Negro Freemasons, no disrespect, at its core represents the university. But when we talk about Freemasonry or Masonry, the aspect and the real of it is its universal and brotherhood of men, no matter race, creed, and origin. You know, the form of Masonry, Freemasonry, on the Aboriginal people of this earth existed long before Prince Hall even manifested. Way before Prince Hall manifested. So the Masonic unity will serve as a great weapon against the true enemies of Masonry. Brothers and sisters, it's my contention, as well as many other Moors, and the sacred Moor science predates its younger brother, European, or so-called Prince Hall Masonry. And we do this, and we trace this antiquity and the sacred Moor science from the ancient sunken civilization of Muur, Muur, the Garden of Eden, where Prophet Enoch, and this is why a lot of stuff is took out y'all Bibles, y'all. It's very simple to paint these pictures when you start seeing things with an eye. But it's where Prophet Enoch refined and propagated the sacred science. This science was preserved in the pillars associated with Noah's flood. This Moor science tradition was passed down from Enoch to Methuselah, to Lamech, to Noah, to Ham, to Cush, to Mizraim, Hut, Canaan, Cush, and Canaan. What was to become the Moor and the Moor Rite. As you start seeing things and able to put puzzles together, put organized what will later be called the Memphis Rite of Freemasonry and Mizraim, the Hebrew name for Egypt. Initiation, what will later be called the Mizraim Rite of Freemasonry. For my brothers and sisters that may be at a lower level of science, isn't it interesting to note that Mizraim is pronounced Musur, M-U-S-U-R, in the Babylonian? So when you remove the middle S, you have what? More, M-U-U-R. And you got to understand that Egypt inherited their sciences from Atlantis, Lemuria. That's why one of the ancient Masonic books is Atlantis of Latter Days that we have. And you see El Elyon, how a lot of the writers, no disrespect, of the lower level European writers will try to regurgitate the science to you to keep you in bondage and keep us fighting and arguing, acting like this is a game and not looking at it like Wonder Twin powers activate, not having the best of the best in every field coming together. We take each other out, and it's just a sad thing. But even through the geographical origin of Memphis, right, it's through Libya, the nexus of the two rights. So I want us to see these things. But this is what we really got to take a picture of. Don't the Bible states that the progeny of Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan, manifest in many nations upon the earth? It is a historical fact that the nomadic Moors populated Europe, Asia, Africa, India, America, Mexico, Pacific, Caribbean islands. The Moors, spelled M-U-U-R-S or M-O-O-R-S, brought a brand of science, culture, enlightenment not seen before, since. So when you start looking at history, once again, is many English and Latin spellings for the name that represents Moor. So just like when I was demonstrating about how to see things with a clear eye and see the constellations in the biblical scriptures and get out of the who was this and who was that, history will tell it. If you know linguistics, we should be getting the universal aspect to understand what we need to do to get back to a place of rulership. It's very simple. but so complex. But more in different languages. Muur, Moor, Maurus, Moro, Mouro, Moore, More, Maurice, Maurice, Moreau, Morito, Moretto, Marduk. Don't that sound familiar? Marduk. In the Babylonian, what did they call the Messiah? Marduk, Mor, Morak, Molalian, Morana, Merabout, Murray, Morabite, Mor, Mormon. You know, y'all should be able to spell that. Mohr, Mohr, Morian, Morian, Moren, Moroon, Mera, Merah, Murabit, Murabit, More, Maur, Moreno, all others, you know. But most people believe that the Moors only came from Northwest Africa. No, as I've been breaking down, I've been showing you that you were Moors all through history. There's nothing to argue about. But we do that. I'm not this, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. You still a Moor? I mean, what are you talking about, sir? Oh, no, I'm a this. Are you still a Moor? No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not about to argue with no one that look like me. I'm not wasting my time. But there are Moors in India, Arabia, Americas, Mexico, Ireland, Celtic, Europe, Australia. We've been breaking this history down. They've been telling us this forever. Breaking the Moor national identity down by letters. The M represents matriarchal. Most Moors believe they should, watch this, that God is a woman. And then they, what you mean? What you mean? See, now if you don't understand what I'm saying, then you operate on hate. Because most Moors believe, yes, that God is a woman. Because in the Bible, what is wisdom related to? Sophia. Understand what I'm saying. The divine feminine. Understand your face represents the divine feminine and the birth cycle in that context as well. But stay in context. I believe that God element is the feminine aspect of one's higher self, the right brain function, or the intuitive side of one's nature as a matriarchal governess. The U stands for the universe in its totality, macrocosm, microcosm. The second U represents under, as in the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God. And the R stands for the Ramu, the Rama, the Ramu, the Raman, the Egyptian, and the Mu god of the sun. I broke this down yesterday, how you got to start seeing things with your eye and don't let nobody tell you your history because they try to keep it away from you. I told you all about the Sibyls and what the Catholic Church kept away, those seers, those empresses. Then when I break things down on the alchemical terminology, brothers still don't understand because they don't see themselves as gods. But when I break down Isaiah 45:3, what do it say, nobles? Somebody give me that text real fast. You got to see the power in you. See, I'm talking to my people. I know righteousness is for every man. I get that. I have love for every brother and sister that walk this earth. But it's time for all of us to come together and stand up and arise. That's the kumbaya. Not no come by here. The kum, the by, and the ya. Get your lexicon. That means stand up and arise. Somebody give me Isaiah 45:3. Come on, man. Somebody please give it to me real fast. Take your time. If you got it, tell me you got it. Get your smartphone. This all go with what we doing. We walking through this teaching. Somebody got it? Anybody got it? Y'all gonna make me get it before anybody else?
What was the scripture again?
Isaiah 45:3. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to read it. The first one.
I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
It says, I will give you the treasures of darkness.
Uh-huh.
It says, I will give you the treasures of darkness
Uh-huh.
and the hidden riches of secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord.
The treasures of darkness. So when
That's
I
what
talked
it
about, yesterday, when I talked about
Yeah.
breaking things down in a dab class in Lucifer, the morning star, when I start breaking down Ham, the dark, all this, and how they try to say it's some curse, and you don't see it alchemical, you don't see it astrological, you don't see it in the aspect of something overpowering. That's why a lot of us are not operating as one, because we don't see ourselves as this alchemical how can I say it, explanation of man made in the image of the creator. All
What
the
is
church,
melanin?
everything
Melanin
I've
is
been
dark,
breaking
right?
down. You say what, Noble?
I said melanin is dark, right?
Yes, Noble Malik.
But
I
that is the
broke
treasure of darkness.
Malik. All animal figures are nothing but pious hieroglyphs. I broke this down yesterday in class when I was showing them about how the Baphomet and just about Ham and about Lucifer is the morning star. Nothing scary. All this stuff will keep us away from our power. Man, just like Abraham, when I talk about the Ab, the physical body, the Ra, the sun, the Sun, Ham is the sun. What are we talking about? That's the black sun god per se. The Amen, hidden, Ra, black. You know what I mean? The black sun god,
And
the
it's
pineal,
before that.
the pineal gland. Once again, what? The bringer of light, the light bringer. You know, the morning star. I mean,
Can I read number 2, right before number 3, right?
absolutely.
It says, this comforting message is given to those who are in bondage, to hopelessness and physical suffering. That's mental slavery in darkness.
Yep. Yep. Mental
That's all.
slavery. Yep. Yep.
The suffering comes from within. You make the decisions, your right or wrong decisions, your good or bad decisions, but you made them.
Yep. Yep. And in this context, the MUUR simply means, in an esoteric sense, the original spirituality and the original spiritually intuitive state of man and of woman. And according to Mark Amar Pinkham, it's a book that I have. I'll share it with y'all. I don't think I shared it with y'all. It's called The Return of the Serpents of Wisdom. Write that down. The souls of the Lemurians have continued to reincarnate upon those lands. This is what they talk about. This is their writings. I mean, you can even see certain phases in history, but I don't want to show the pictures of things because, like I said, I'm almost done. But you got so many pictures of Asiatics and things in certain areas, in Puerto Rico, and in certain museums when they say, what do a Puerto Rican look like, or brunette, because brunette means dark. You're going to start seeing certain things. You're going to start seeing people that look like omics, copper colored races, all through history, you know, and it'd be right in your face. It'd be right in your face. So when I be here to give wisdom and things, man, and show people stuff, I don't be here to argue with no one. I'll be here to show you your rich history of this Moorish science and what existed and what they know is Moors, and the ancient history of your fairs, the ancient history of your teachings that you introduced to the world, you know? And I close with this. And I love all my lower level Masonic brothers and sisters, but this document right here, it's just like when I show when you look up the Hawaiian coat of arms. When you research the Hawaiian coat of arms, what you're gonna see when you see the ancient ones, not the ones that were whitewashed, you're gonna see two copper colored Moors with fezzes on. And so when I deal with a lot of my Hawaiian brothers and sisters, as we get ready to do some work, you're gonna see that Moorish connection. That's why I tell people, I said, we got to get into this unification because the world is looking at us and they know their culture. They know their Moorish heritage. Look at it. Look at the Hawaiian coat of arms. All you got to do is pull it up. I shared it with y'all. And you will start seeing why the prophet was making us specifically understanding on the uniting of certain areas, the uniting of Asia, which talks about in a specific Bible. And you look at the Hawaiian coat of arms. Look at that. Copper color. You see that, right?
That's the Hawaiian one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maurice. Understanding the science, we have to understand this. And so like one of my brothers was saying that hit me up, that found me, he was like, brother, you have your passport? I was like, yes, no problem. He like, we got to do some work. Because if you brothers if it's not gonna catch on in the States the way it should, we definitely can do work here. Because in certain areas, that's what they be on all the time. When I show you the brother page, how they be studying and what they be doing and how they coming together, and he was like, it just takes a vibration. It just takes to have the information. And then when it comes to building and finances, we have to understand how to do it. But the power is understanding who we are. The power is using all your skills. But let me show y'all something as we close. So when I talk about this Masonic power, and when people act like it came from someone else, it's always your science. Because this right here is the secret rituals of the secret work of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. Now listen to the date. Listen to the date. Copyrighted by the Imperial Grand Council. Listen to the name of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. So first they say in the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. But if you have your exhumed of the nation, which is one of our big, I call it our heartbeat, our ritual, well, not our ritual book, but our concordance book, you will be able to see specific topics and not just agree with things that's in there, but be able to bring it to the table. But you will start seeing with the eye. So in this writing, they saying that they are the ancient. Remember, keep the word ancient. It ain't nothing ancient about nothing that's Negro black or the other nationality. No disrespect. That's just science. But they saying that they the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. By Dr. B.H. Stillward. 33 degrees. Imperial Grand Potentate. July 19th. 1940. That's modern. 33 degrees is when Jesus died, per se. That's a whole nother allegory. That's no science. In meteorology, that's where water freezes. Now, I'm about to show you this. And I want you to listen clearly to what I'm saying, and listen to the date. When I tell you, no one has power over you. This document right here was passed out to the Nation of Islam in 1936 and then reissued in 1963. Written and sent to all students in the Ministry of Islam in the Wilderness of North America by Elijah Muhammad, servant of Allah, dated 4/2/1936, and then reissued January 18th, 1963. And so I'm not going to read everything in here, but you'll start looking at things with the right eye, and we can start agreeing a little bit more, because a lot of our brothers and sisters just don't have the information. And so when you look at this picture, because I'm only going to get a little bit and we out of here. Now remember, I read this with the European or the Negroes, that's Prince Hall. This is what they go by. They go by this. They potentate stuff or some modern stuff. So, and no disrespect to no one, Master Fire Muhammad under the alias David Ford, picture in the upper left-hand corner. There are many Masons shown in this picture. The development of the MSTA saw the influence of many high-degree black Shriners, Masons, and secret societies. Particularly is making emphasis on this specific group, the ancient Egyptian Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. But I thought they were the order of the mystic shrine. Follow me. No, listen to the dates. The European 1914, the Negro 1914, when there's nothing ancient about a Negro black, and there's nothing ancient about it. So it's nothing that you're going to have that's going to be high science. No disrespect. But this is the ancient and mystic shrine, started by Noble Ali Rofel Pasha and John George Jones in 1893. These secret societies played a major role in the events during the late 20s and 30s in the governmental changes in America that have great importance to the events happening presently in respect to the subject of reparations and the New World Order. This stuff was available. This is from the Moor's literature, the pamphlet. I have them all. The industrious acts of the Muslims. So the science is here. You see Elijah Pool Bay with the fez on.
Yep.
I mean, there's no disrespect. People know, but things been buried under a shallow grave. So I wanted to share that with y'all today, man, and let's get a little point of history and what was hidden from you. No one can continue to hide stuff from you that don't look like you. We are a people. We got a rich history. Even Khalid Muhammad told people that he was a Moor. He said, I know I'm a Moor. I got enough sense to tell you I'm a Moor. I mean, you have to know who you are. No one dissing no one culture. That's what the powers that be want to do. I don't want to diss none of my brothers and sisters. I don't want to diss none of my empresses that may be dealing with the terror or may be dealing with other type of spirituality. Because when you look at things, and when I deal with Gematria, and then when I deal with Clock of Destiny, and when I deal with all these other forms of disciplines, it's just like working out. It's just like anything else. It's a form of discipline. That's what it is. And that's what they took from us. They took the culture and gave you religion. But I can show you all through history when we talk about the constellations, and in the Bible they talk about seeing the stars through microscopes. Yeah, only a mortal man see the stars through a microscope. But we are the extraterrestrials. We don't need no microscope to see those things. Understand what I'm saying? And history proved this stuff. As we begin to resurrect ourselves to unity, And so with that, man, I like to say Islam and Nobles, like I said, anything y'all need, get with me. Any questions? Anybody got any questions? Please keep these questions coming. Gratitude for you, our Adrian. The One World Tartarian is just a small donation, and we'll get it to you. One of my nobles will get it to you. Yeah, it's just a small donation. But yeah, like I said, brothers and sisters, this is how we build. This is how we build infrastructure, by doing business with each other, by bartering. Just like you, noble Adrian. Here it is, you come to a brother to cipher. You got your fez. You're gonna continue to learn how to wrap your turban. We a brotherhood. I'm not here to hold nothing on nobody. But what I tell people is, when you become a part of something like the BBT, you always a part of the BBT. That's why we supposed to take these skills and learn of ourselves and go out in the world and manifest and come together. That's what this is about. That's what this building and this being industrious is all about, y'all. So, do anybody got any questions or anything they want to add? Anything? No?
Just gratitude for the lesson, Noble.
Gratitude, man. I give y'all gratitude, and if y'all missed the teaching the other day that we gave on how I think Moso was there, and we talked about a lot of the Gnostic teachings of the biblical scriptures, like the meaning of Baphomet, and a lot of the other topics that we talked about. I definitely recommend you to at least take a time to see that, to see who was Lucifer, and start comparing and contrasting and get in your brain the unity and the science of the text. So that's all I got, man. I give y'all gratitude. I give y'all love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Gratitude this morning, Noble Malik, for the workout. We had an amazing workout. Noble Adrian, like I said, you're more than welcome to join us for workout in the mornings. And as we continue to grow and continue to learn, we definitely hope we all will be able to make it till our fifth annual Moore's Ball meet and greet in March. But let's just continue to build, man, and our will and Allah's will line up, and we continue to meet brothers and sisters on this internet. We continue to bring people together, and we start having our seminars every few months where I come to everybody's city and we build, and we continue to have brothers and have subordinate temples in everybody's city as we continue to resurrect our brothers and sisters. Man, the prophet told me when I first got into this, man, and my spirit's like, man, we got to put all our brothers in fez and turbans. And then give them the clear understanding on what the fez and the turban consist of, for they can stand up right. That's what we're supposed to be doing to our brothers and sisters, especially our nobles. So you can know, so your son can wear the fez, for your empress can understand that turban. And we can know what it is of being the people, being honorable. And so that's all I got, man. Like I said, I love y'all, man. I give every one of y'all gratitude. Tell y'all family, peace and love. And once again, man, more science for the family. Peace and love.
Peace, nobles.
Peace.
I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seed sowing, harvest reaping, man breathing me. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing, to quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave is how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram or